Hello and welcome to the Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, usually also mocks of the week. However, we have to skip this one today, but we do have also a few reading recommendations as well. Information is presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. And this is where we're going to go. And yeah, why don't we have mocks of the week? The simple reason is we have close to a bazillion sets or set updates, sets announcements this week. A lot of very interesting stuff. And it's also going to be most and foremost like a 90% Lego show because Lego has announced a ton of sets for January 1st. And we need to go through all of them. And actually, we will not even go through all of them. I had to skip quite a few, like especially the smaller ones, but plus also a couple of series like Minecraft, Disney, and a few other things where I've decided, okay, we don't have the time for it. And nevertheless, I did record the German version of this show this morning. It was more than an hour, so fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a lot of work ahead of us. So let's dive in. We will quickly talk also about BlueBrixx. Here we have actually a lot of announcements by this German brand because they have announced a lot more peanut sets. And actually the three I'm going to show you are just examples. In fact, from all of these like type of sets, they have actually announced a lot more. So let's move in. 108602 is one of these diamond block figures that they announced this week. The astronaut Charlie, in this case, 1175 diamond bricks size pieces, so keep that in mind for those of you who are more familiar with Lego. These are bricks and they have a similar concept than, for instance, Lego bricks do have, but they are a lot smaller, like a lot. I guess this figure that you see here is not going to be that much bigger than a Lego minifigure. Well, actually, I guess it is, but it is by far not as big as it would be in case you would use normal bricks. Also, because they are so small, they are also not to scale to Lego bricks or like a Duplo, for instance, on the Lego, and the Lego family is on the other side. They are slightly different in its proportions simply because in this size you couldn't go regular anymore. Anyhow, Charlie Brown as an astronaut, tiny set. If this is for you, you may want to check it out. And then another one, actually they call this, I think, the Snoopy Garden series. And in this case, the Maple Leaf Potted 108603. And actually of these like potted plants with figures, they have also like a ton more on their site. Or you can, of course, also find them in the SetDB if you just move into the Peanuts license, for instance. In this case, you have Snoopy in the Maple Leaf Potted, 133 pieces in the 108603 Snoopy figure. Tiny set. As always with BlueBrixx, when they do announce, they don't announce a pricing model with that, but my guess we will talk about, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks max. No, it's not 15, it's more like 10, I guess. Anyhow, then we have this Snoopy off-roader, looks more like a beach buggy to me. Anyhow, 108613, and yeah, it's a car, it's Snoopy, it's a lot of fun, I'm pretty sure. 244 pieces. Actually, that's what the website says. The box art says 276. Not uncommon with BlueBrixx. I guess they will figure this out coming to release. And then we have an amphibious vehicle. It is in blue. Looks a bit like the Ultramarines. Anyhow, it's, as you can see already from the German name of the set, Technisches Hilfswerk. I actually don't know what an equivalent in other countries is. Maybe in the US, National Guard, but not really. They are not under weapons. But anyhow, they are like a federal organization that is coming to aid, basically helping on a federal level, supporting firefighters on site, first responders on site in case they need a special technical expertise, especially machinery, like very large pumps, basically pumps that are big enough to, I don't know, dry an entire lake, stuff like that, large cranes, and maybe even in this case an amphibious vehicle, just as a bit of context. 1,615 pieces. And we assume that these will be Kunlong pieces, a BlueBrixx special. That means only digital instructions. And yeah, here you go. Technical vehicle with a combination of Technic and System bricks, as far as I can tell. With that, we're moving on to Funhole. I think I did talk about this set before. Yes, beginning of November, a month ago. This one is now available at Funhole themselves. As a result, we have links to the manual. And we do have we do have more detailed pictures. It is a beautiful building. Actually, I do already have a sample from Funhole. I will publish a review, unfortunately, only on my German channel. However, I've seen with other channels nowadays that there are like AI-driven translations. So I don't know, maybe that's something we can also figure out over here. Is as soon as we have the translations, I may be able to, in going forward, link my German-speaking reviews here for you. But I don't know, I'm still a bit cautious on this one. Don't know how good the AI quality is, but definitely something that I may do going forward. With that, we are done with every brand besides Lego. Let's move in. Tudor Corner 10350, the new modular building, going to release January 1st. Actually, in most countries, I guess that's a public holiday. At least that's the case over here in Germany. So I actually intend to stay in line in front of the Lego store January 2nd in order to build this one. And yeah, here you go. It's a new modular building. It's a corner version, like the name suggests. Tudor, that's actually a late medieval architecture series, basically Gothic architecture from Britain, as far as the name suggests. I think it did run in parallel to the Renaissance architecture style for quite a while. But technically we are talking about, I think, the first Tudor king that was at the end of the 15th century, as far as I can tell, right? It was like in the 1490s, something like. My history is not leaving me here, but that's, I guess, what you can expect, like late 15, I guess, more like 16th century kind of building. It's quite uncommon for Lego to move into this one, right? A lot of Lego buildings more have like either in like a US, a North American vibe, like Boston kind of style, or more like the French variant of it, like of course, as you could see very recently in the Boutique Hotel, but also other ones like the Parisian Café, stuff like that. So this one here, like a very, let's say, British architecture, is quite interesting, but however, I do believe it should fit quite well. All in all, I think it looks really beautiful. The color scheme is amazing. I really love the dark green, I guess it is. It looks beautiful. Actually, I've never seen these boxes in dark green, but I'm also really excited about the building techniques. Some of them look quite interesting at first glance, like this knot technique that they used on the roof part. As far as I can tell, they have like cramped tiles in between these slopes, and as far as I can tell, if I assume correctly what kind of pieces they used, these are actually not attached to any studs, which is quite interesting that Lego would do that. It looks really amazing. And like I said, I really love the color scheme, love the roof design, dark red tiles, looks amazing. And yeah, the other interesting part, of course, is all the signs that you see in the front. Are we talking about pad printed pieces here, or also stickers? I do hope for pad printed, which is common for the modular building series. Especially this 3x3 pearl gold round tile with this amazing clock on it, is really looking beautiful. Nice minifigures as well, but all in all, the most I'm excited about are some of the prints as well as the overall building technique. So really looking forward to this one. Another icon set that they did announce also for January 1st is Leonardo da Vinci's Flying Machine 10363, 439 pieces. And also a minifigure. As you can see, a couple of Lego recognized fan media or Lego ambassadors have already been provided by their partner Lego with these sets. So first reviews are linked in the SetDB. And yeah, I think it is amazing that Lego did the set. I really like the wing design. The glass pieces look really amazing with the print and everything. Overall, the vehicle is not my most preferred design by Leonardo da Vinci, but it still looks, I think, very decent. And it seems to have a certain functionality. I guess the wings can be moved. It's coming on a stand. You have a Leonardo minifig that is actually printed both on the legs as well as the hips. And I do hope that the tile with the blueprints for this machine that he has in his hand is actually pad printed. But all in all, quite a beautiful design. I really like it. A small set, of course, with less than 500 pieces, and it's $50. And by the way, as always, when I mention prices, usually I talk about the US dollar prices. However, as you can see, it's one of the very few sets, Lego is not doing this that often, that is actually cheaper in the US compared to Europe. Usually we have parity for like 95% of the sets. Very few sets are cheaper in the US than they are in Europe. Don't know why. I don't know, not 100% sure. By the way, I forgot with the modular building, it's $230. So that is basically what the last modulars in this size were, like the Boutique Hotel. However, the Boutique Hotel was raised in prices a couple of months after release. The Jazz Club was from day one in this price range. However, both of these sets have less pieces. So price per piece is actually a lot better with this set. However, that doesn't mean much, but for sure, what it does tell for sure is that you will have more building fun for the money, not necessarily more set, if you will. However, as soon as I've done my review, I will of course also enter the weight of the set, so you can basically get a better feeling like how much stuff you get for the money. Anyhow, let's move on to Lego City, and here we have the 60454. So this is the new camper van from Lego. Actually, I think the old one is still in stock, but it's going EOL or end of life by end of this year. So this is the successor set of the camper van. I think it has a much nicer color scheme. The current one, I think, is more like white and tan. This one has dark red parts in that, which is really cool. I really like the building techniques that they use in the front. So this has almost like, quality-wise, from the building techniques perspective, almost like a Speed Champion vibe, which is really cool. I've never really understood why Lego has so many vehicles with such poor building technique, and then they have this amazing Speed Champion team, which is doing an astonishing job when it comes to building techniques. So I think this one here looks actually quite nice. I really like the brick design. You can open it up, you can remove the roof. You have a door on the side. And yeah, and even enough space for a couple of beds. And yeah, next to the toddler, you have the parents included as well. That's about that. Let's move on to a smaller vehicle, the donut truck. Usually, maybe it's a bit too small to cover it here in the news show, but I think it is a really an amazing design. I really like the donut on top. I mean, come on, the donut looks amazing. 60452, 196 pieces. I will skip the prices for now. In Europe, I was actually able to talk a lot more about prices because first European retailers had these already listed, but nevertheless, I don't have a price point from Lego yet. But I do have these pictures, and I think they look really cool, and you can remove the donut shop itself and maybe use the rest of the truck for something else, which is amazing. 2 minifigures, really like the torso prints of the donut guy, and he's getting $100 for his donuts. That's amazing. 2 donuts and a cup and a coffee, $100. That's inflation right there. But I do really like the print. Quite amazing. With that, we're moving on to City No Limits Race Car Ramp Track, which is amazing. I actually don't know how these kind of race cars are called in other countries or what they are called in English. I actually don't know. In Germany, we call them Seifenkisten, which basically means it's a box on wheels. But I really like the design of these. When I was a little kid, we had races like this in our village every year, like grown-up folks building these vehicles and then racing down the hill of our village like crazy. I really like this and always dreamed of building one myself. But I think it's not really done that much anymore in Germany, at least. Anyhow, really like the set. I do like that they use the regular road piece from Lego, so I think this could also be used in different scenarios, in the entire infrastructure. And then they have something very weird, if you ask me. They call it the City Helicopter Fire Trucks and Submarine Remix. And actually, it has a new logo on the box. It's called Mix and Match 60462, and it's a similar concept to these to this X-Wing TIE Fighter set. By means, you can basically split these 3 vehicles into 3 pieces and then mix and match them. I don't know. I mean, kids have a lot more fantasy and imagination than I do have, so they may have more fun with this than I would have, but I don't know. These 3 things don't really belong together. And I mean, why would you have a submarine with a helicopter front? Or I don't know. I mean, Lego has 3 examples here, and all 3 of them look quite weird. So that's why I don't really understand. On the other hand, you know, kids have, like I said, a lot more imagination than a 45-year-old. So I don't know. This may be for them. With that, we're moving on to City Scrapyard with cars. A 60472 is a relatively large Lego city set, 871 pieces. What I can say is it's basically the same size as the other one, but at least in Germany it is a lot cheaper. Not really sure why the other one is so expensive, but like I said, I don't have price point yet. 871 pieces, and yeah, here you go, the scrapyard. Nothing very special about it, but I think I really like the cars, and it has again this feature that you can customize the cars with different fronts, which I think personally makes a ton of more sense than the other thing we just talked about before it did. But all in all, standard city set. With that, moving on to Creator, and here they have really released or announced like a ton of sets. I think it's 6, 7 Creator 3-in-1 sets. I can't recall if they ever had such a large wave, and some of them are really astonishing. In general, I've always been a big fan of this series. The only unfortunate thing is that they don't really seem to be interested in buildings anymore. So all of these 7 sets are about like animals or monsters or something like that. Anyhow, let's talk about the medieval dragon, the 31161, and it's a big green dragon. Alternatively, a snake or maybe a phoenix, I guess, is the red bird. It has 715 pieces. And I really like the brick build dragon design. I mean, I also really like the Ninjago dragons, but I think this one is so much cooler because it's all brick build. It's an amazing design. I think it's also, a great inspiration for all of you who have like large fantasy, high fantasy, medieval mocks going on. Like how you could do a brick built dragon, and usually when Lego is doing these things, they're also quite robust, which many mocks are not. So this thing is both a great set, but also an inspiration to do your own dragon. The snake has a certain Loch Ness vibe, so it looks a bit. I guess the color scheme. I think it should fit quite well in the Scottish Highlands, and then you have a Phoenix, maybe. I think they did Fire Phoenix as a Harry Potter set quite a while ago, which if I remember correctly, looked a little bit cooler. But anyhow, still I think quite a nice thing. The only thing that I don't really like is the beacon of the bird. I will call it a phoenix, but actually I don't know. It could be a different red bird. But all in all, 3 nice designs. Most and foremost, I do like the dragon though. Then they have a smaller one, the playful cat, which could also be a bird or a dog, which is nice. 31163. I think it's not as spectacular as the dragon, but here you go. I mean, if you're into cats and dogs, this may be for you. And then the one that gets me at least the least excited, the cute bunny, 31162. 326 pieces in this one, and you can basically I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of the entire color scheme. It's all in tan, which is I think a bit boring. I think there are more interesting colors for these kind of animals, but here you go if this is more your cup of tea. And then you have the space robot. This one actually is relatively expensive over here. Again, I don't have Lego prices yet. My guess is it's a bit more pricey because there's a light brick included, which actually is in this robot, which has a certain, I don't know, number 5 vibe. It has a balloon in its hand. So why would you have a balloon if you're in space? Not really sure. Anyhow, looks nice. It's running on tracks, which is quite exciting. The B and C models don't look that good, if you ask me, though. There's a robot dog and a rocket, and I think it's not even using the tracks of the original robot, which is not that good, if you ask me. It's not a good use of the pieces. Plus, I'm not really sure if I need a light brick in one of these. Anyhow, let's go on to another very exciting set, the Wild Animals Panda Family 31165. And this one is really amazing, I do believe. This has the certain vibe like the Forest Animals had this year, which was also an amazing set. The fox was really beautiful, and I think this panda bear is, especially the larger one, it looks really amazing. Beautiful building techniques. It's really a great set. I'm a big fan. But also the B and C model, like the orca, whale, and the penguins, look really amazing. So yeah, I think this is almost like the perfect creator 3-in-1 set. Let me know what your thoughts are. And then we have White Animals Pink Flamingo. It has 288 pieces. And here actually I do already have a price point, $25 US. The same is true in Europe, in euros, 31170. And yeah, you have the flamingo, you have another paradise kind of bird, and the third thing, somebody told me this morning how it's called, but it's an animal that actually exists. Maybe not in this color scheme, but it does exist. I just forgot the name again. Anyhow, there are a couple of very interesting pieces in this one. I think that several of these pieces never existed in this color before, but in general, from my personal point of view, not as exciting as the panda family is. And then you have the surprising spider. This also runs recording to Lego under Wild Animals, but I don't know, it looks a bit like it's not that realistic, right? The entire color scheme is a bit wide, and especially this falls apart with the B model. Like, there is no scorpion in this color scheme, and this snake looks entirely weird. It doesn't look like a snake. It looks like, I don't know. And then look at these poison tooths of the spider. Again, looks everything. I mean, the spider is completely wrong, but I guess the scorpion is okay from building technique perspective, but the color scheme is off by far. So, long story short, not really my thing. With that, we're moving on to Lego DC, Tumbler versus Two-Face and the Joker. So we have a play scale Tumbler again, 76303. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this one. First of all, we do have a price here. It's $60 or euros as well. Plus, by the way, I will link as much as I can. As soon as I have more prices, I will provide them as well. So as you can see, we also have a price point already in British quid, British pound, and Canadian dollars as well. Other currencies will follow, but most and foremost, I will talk about dollars US. Anyhow, let's talk about the set. I really like the minifigures. I mean, they are the typical DC playset stuff, by means legs are not printed, hips are not printed. Especially if you look at Joker, there is a much better version of this one in the large UCS variant of the Tumbler, but I guess it's a playset, so there are limits of what Lego is willing to do for a playset that is a licensed set. I mean, don't get me started. We'll talk about Dreams in a second. Dreams minifigures are usually much higher quality than all the licensed stuff. But anyhow, that's the way it is. But I still do really like the Two-Face figure. I think the entire face print is really amazing. The hairpiece is amazing. And Batman is just the way it is. The Tumbler itself, though, I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are. But for me, the back wheels, they look off. They are too small. I think. I'm not really sure what I don't like about this one, but something is off. It's not much, I do believe, but still it is. It is a playset. It has stud shooters included, and you have the bat sign as well. And with that, we're moving on to Lego Dreams. And here I think they announced a lot more Dream sets, also DC sets. I just picked these three. So first, let's talk about Cooper's Gaming Controller Jet, 266 pieces. And like the name suggests, you can build the vehicle in part out of a controller, and then you can do like a flying vehicle and kind of like an airplane and a helicopter. And yeah, I mean, there's a game controller included. It's all stickers, of course, but as always, the minifigures are of very decent quality. And then you have kind of a, I don't know, this has a certain Half-Life vibe for me, but it looks like a brain that is running around, like a brain spider thingy, which is quite nice. And then we have Cooper's Tiger Mac and Zero's Hot Rod Car. As the name suggests, we have a tiger, but what we also have are these small little dudes. Again, I forgot their name. They're like the evil ones, but what is really cool about them is the helmet. The helmet has like a certain old Greek vibe, like 300, the movie, if you recall, or like the Greek hoplites, which is really amazing. It's an amazing piece. I've never seen this one before, so I think it is new for this Dream series. I'm a big fan. There's also a variant with trans red pieces, which of course is like very fantastical science fiction like. But the white and gray one, I think, is something that you should be able to use in certain other scenarios, which is really amazing. The mech itself, I think, can be transformed in kind of a cat large cat animal kind of vibe, and then you of course have like multiple variants what you can do with the car, I do believe. Anyhow, dream set, and this one has 1006 pieces, price point not available yet. Matteo and the Z Blob action race car 71491 is the next one, and I mean it's a car, and it again has one of these walking spider brainy thingies. I mean, I think it's technically just a spider. It just has a certain brain vibe, if you ask me. Anyhow, again, it has the typical Dreams X in one function. In this case, you can make this, I don't know, a flying vehicle, a car, or a motorcycle with a drone. Multiple variants of this set. Then let's go very, very briefly through the Friends series. Again, we are not talking about every set, but just, I mean, the sets I'm talking about right now, I will link down below in the video description or podcast show notes for those of you who listen to this, for instance, on Spotify and other platforms. And then there's the brand category Friends. Just click on this one, you will see the other sets, but we will go very briefly into these because I think Friends is not really our target group. But Friends Friendships, Treehouse Hangout, it's a new Treehouse. I think all of these Friends Treehouse, they're always very nice sets, but kind of all look the same. 42652 is the new one, 701 pieces. You have 4 dolls in there as well as 2 animals, and it's a typical Friends house, typical Lego kit set by means, okay, your buildings are not really buildings, more like a facade with 3-4 stud steps maximum, but still I think you should be able to position minifigures in there, or mini dolls in there at least a little bit, and yeah, here you go. It is a nice set. Then we have 3 other ones, very briefly. Alia's Baby Sister's Playroom 42645, 2 mini dolls, Amalia, and I don't know what this beast is here on the left. It looks like a donut cat. I don't know. It's weird, but I guess it's a I don't know what it is. I have no idea. Anyhow, let's move on. 42650 is also now announced. By the way, it's all January 1st. Pet accessoires shop. 42650 accessoires. I have no idea how this is pronounced in English-speaking countries. In Germany, would be accessoires. I don't know even what the French call it. I guess this is a French word. Anyhow, 375 pieces, 3 mini dolls, 3 animals. It's a pet shop. It's pretty cool, I do believe. I think it has a couple of very nice building techniques. We like the dog vibe. However, I do zoom. It's all going to be stickers. And on the inside, I don't know. You have a pet washing area and I don't know, maybe a Medicare area, something like that. And then, but that's about that. And then you have a slightly, I do believe, more interesting set. 42651, Friends, Horse, and Pet Vet Clinic. This time, 428 pieces. You have, I think, 3 mini dolls and 5 animals. So you have a bunch of dogs, which all look quite beautiful, and a horse, of course, because, you know, why not? And yeah, on the inside, the vet can take care of all these animals. With that, we're moving on to the next very exciting set, a set that I personally definitely intend to build. 76444 Diagon Alley Wizarding Shop. So this one is exciting. I think it is kind of an Harry Potter architecture vibe kind of set, which in general I'm a huge fan of. However, I think it's much more zoomed out compared to the Hogwarts set that they did. I think, was it already last year or this year? I think it was last year already, right? Anyhow, now we have the Diagon Alley, and because they zoomed in a bit more, now that we are in like nanofix scale. So there's a bazillion nanofix included, which is really amazing. I think these are not easy to make for Lego. I mean, you have to print these very, very tiny figures, but they look really amazing. I think they did this before with the large Hogwarts set, right? Where the school founders like have like Ravenclaw and Slytherin and all these wizards were included as nanofix, which I think was really cool. And now they put the same thing basically on steroids, so you have a lot more now. The other interesting thing is that this set is Basically, you can open it up the way it is shown here. You can also just put it on a shelf, like make it like a long variant, which I think is really practical. But you can also put this together, which almost has like a book nook vibe. So I don't know if it really works as a book nook because, you know, it's not very high on the sides, but I think you could also very easily make this work, I think. And I think in between Harry Potter books, of course, you need a shelf that is deep enough. Don't underestimate the size of this one, but if you have a shelf that is deep enough, I think it would look amazing in between Harry Potter books. Maybe even include some lighting. I don't know. It looks quite nice. What is also really cool is that all of these buildings have an interior. I mean, in general, when I saw this design for the first time, I was immediately thinking about these micro versions of the Legos Ninjago city sets that they did as an insiders bonus a couple of months ago, and they were amazing. I built all 4 of them, and I really liked them, but they didn't have an interior. In fact, most architecture kind of style sets by Lego don't have. So this looks like, I don't know, it looks really amazing, and I think this makes this stuff here even better than what, for instance, Chris Romans from the mock side is doing usually, because again, these buildings usually don't have an interior. And however, I think for Harry Potter that is quite important. So this is, I don't know, what's not to love about this one? It looks really amazing. Nevertheless, I still have to build it though. Let's talk about price point. $200, 7.3 cents a piece. This looks not too shabby, but these are very, very tiny pieces. So not so sure if I like that, but it remains to be seen how good the set actually is. I definitely intend to build it. What I really don't like, and like I said some time ago at the beginning of this show, I really like that for the camping van. I guess somebody from the city team talked to the Speed Champion team. I think the Harry Potter team, if we follow this theme along, the Harry Potter team should definitely talk to the Speed Champion team. I don't know what went wrong with this one. I don't know. It looks just wrong in so many ways. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. But 76446, the Night Bus Adventure. Yes, it is the night again, which is cool. Why not? I also like the minifigures, but I just don't like this design. It looks extremely square, rough, simple. The proportions are weird. I don't know. I can't help it. I just don't like it. What can I say? But it is entirely brick built, doesn't really use panels or anything. It's all brick built, so I guess it's very robust. I mean, of course, you have the windows, but next to that, it's just relatively straightforward brick built. Because it is so sturdy built, I also believe, kids should do very well with this one. It has a couple of very cool minifigures included, but all in all, like I said, I don't like the brick design. $50 in the US, 10 cents a piece. And then we have Malfoy Manor 76453, I guess from the playset series Harry Potter of this wave. It's kind of the lead set because it does cost $150, has 1,600 pieces. A lot of minifigures in general. I really like that they did it. Because there are so many cool scenes here in the movies also. I mean, we have Dobby here, we have the Malfoys, and we have several of the evil dudes as well. So there's a lot of cool scenes, also very dramatic scenes from the movies, I do believe, that you could do in this set. So that's really cool. They're actually, including Dobby, 9 minifigures included, all interesting characters. I mean, of course, Harry is there as always, but it's the old Harry, which is not that seen that often. Like basically a Harry that is grown up. Hermione, of course, as well. So I don't know. I think that is all cool. However, if you look on the back side, I don't know. There's just not enough stuff going on. I mean, I can't help it. I really don't like these facade buildings. I mean, this thing, I think they should have tried to give this thing at least a little bit more depth, like 2 studs at least. This one goes too far. In my point of view, because only one room, basically the room with a large table, is the only thing that has any depth at all. It seems the rest of the building has like 2 studs. I mean, usually it's 4, which is already awful to say the least, but this one, it seems to be only 2, except the dining table area. So, however, I do like the design in the front, so that is cool, and I think there are pretty cool minifigures in there to do to play or do or build a couple of very interesting scenes from the movies / of course the books as well. With that, we're moving on to another interesting set where I also have a certain problem with, and that is the 76443 Hagrid and Harry's motorcycle ride. In general, I really like the idea that they did this. I guess it's this scene where, you know, they are fleeing basically or transferring Harry and they get attacked and everything. So it is a cool and dramatic scene also in the movies. Very well done in the movies, if you ask me. But I also really like that Lego did this entirely brick build, and especially Hagrid looks really amazing. I'm a big fan of this. I have a huge problem with Harry's face. So, I mean, I can't tell that I have a better building technique in mind, but this thing, it's not that it's just a little bit, you know, rough, if you will, but I mean, it looks like he's wearing a mask or a helmet or anything like that. So, I don't know, this didn't work. It's a little bit like the Statue of Liberty that Lego did quite some time ago with the Nexonite shield as a face. This just looks wrong. You know, it's not the point of being too abstract or not detailed enough. It just looks wrong. But next to that, I guess they played around with other variants, but I can't say that I'm a fan of this solution. But in general, nice set, 617 pieces, $50. And with that, moving on to 3, I think, Hogwarts Castle extension set. So now we're talking about the play set, Hogwarts Castle 76441, the Dueling Club, where you can actually basically run both of the duels. I think that is the second book or the third. Ooh, it's been quite a while. Anyhow, of course, Harry and Malfoy can duel, as can the teachers. And this thing also seems to have like a small play function where you basically can kick out the loser. And yeah, all in all, I mean, you have 4 minifigures. I think the 2 grown-ups especially look really amazing. And then you have the feature, and you can include it in the castle, which is amazing, of course. And then you have the flying lesson, 76447, for the actually, which castle is this one for? I mean, you could get confused nowadays. I don't know. Because there's no roof in here, i.e. no color, I think it should work with both of the current playset castles, right? But yeah, here they have an instruction how you could include it. No, you can combine it with the other sets that we are talking about in a second, which is amazing. Anyhow, let's go back to the flying lesson, 76447. And yeah, you have basically 2 of the small pupils, no, even 3. Neville is included as well. Then you have 2 teachers and you have the captain. And yeah, there's a Quidditch included, and Malfoy is having this, I forgot how the thing is called, right? The Remembrancer? No, it's not a Remembrancer. That comes from a different scene, but I don't know, whatever this piece is called. It looks really amazing. Looks like a headpiece and trans clear with a very decent or very nice print. I do really like this. You have, of course, like I said, you have also 2 teachers included. You have a snitch. So yeah, and I also really like the building. And yes, what I did want to mention is that the Charms class, which is the other set, 76442, you can include in the building of the flying lesson set, which I think is a cool idea. Very nice idea, which also means these 2 together already have like, you know, already something without the need of having Hogwarts itself. $20 US for the 76442. And yes, I always like this scene, always like this teacher, you know, standing on his books and everything, which is really cool. And yeah, like I said, Professor Flitwick, oh, I don't know, I forgot the name, but Hermione is there, as well as Ron. They, of course, in the typical uniform. I guess we had a bazillion of these at this point in time. With that, moving on to Jurassic World, and here we have the dinosaur fossils. So this is, I think, already the second one that they did. I think this is the Triceratops. Before that, they did the T-Rex, if I recall correctly, 76969. However, this one has a minifigure included. I think the last one did not. But there's also the, what is it called, an excavation scene, anyhow, as well as is the plaque. In general, I've said this before, so about the other sets like this, These should go without a Jurassic World license, in my point of view. They could stand on their own. You don't need the minifigure, and then you could go cheaper, right? For me, this is like, okay, make this $35 without the minifigure, skip the license, and you have an amazing set. Here you also have already a Lego Ambassador review, it seems, by BlueBrixx, so you may want to check this one out. 468 pieces though, $45, like I said, a bit unnecessary. And then you have a Looney Tunes, Sweetheart Tweety Bird, 40824. So based on my research, this is the only one that they are doing, which is interesting. I would assume usually when Lego, moves in with such a thing, I would assume that they do multiple ones. So maybe it's just missing information at this point in time. Maybe I missed something. Maybe they will release something later on this year, but I would be highly surprised if Tweety Bird would be the only Looney Tune that they do this way. Anyhow, 412 pieces, $35. I mean, it's a bricked bird, so nothing very special, but I think especially the head form looks very, it fits very well. Let's put it that way. It's not really my cup of tea, but if you're into this one, could be a Valentine Day thing as well. With that, moving on to Marvel. And here we have a large playset, first of all. Captain America, Civil War, Action Battle, 76314. I think this bad boy has like 8 minifigures. Yes, it does. And yeah, including Ant-Man as a large brick build fig. Yeah, I mean, it's not too shabby. I don't really understand why, I guess this is Scarlet Witch here, isn't it? Not really sure. I think that should be her, right? I mean, in the Marvel Tower, she had like a skirt, or like an extension of her, her jacket or whatever you might call it, which was really amazing. It was in the Avengers Tower, if I recall correctly. It's not in here, but next to that, it's like the standard minifigure lineup. Not very creative, especially most of these minifigures we have already seen. So, I don't know, still like Iron Man. I think this is the best version that Lego ever did for a playset. Spidey is also really, really nice. The others are more like a mixed bag. And then something truly new, 76313, the Marvel logo and minifigures. It's actually 5 minifigures included. It's like, some of the most important characters from the Avengers, including Hulk as a minifigure, which is interesting. It seems to be a new thing that they do now Hulks as minifigures a lot. 931 pieces. It's going to cost you $100 US. And as far as I can tell, it's basically this brick built sign as a box, and in the box are the minifigures, and then you can push something, I guess, and then the minifigures are coming out. I think that could be a nice, neat party trick, but I think, again, from a minifigure perspective, I've never seen this Hulk figure before, but the other 4 for sure look like the standard minifigures that we had before. Like I said, I'm a big fan of this Tony Stark Iron Man minifigure, but everything else looks relatively simple. Then I only briefly mention also 2 small sets. This one I just picked, 76309, Spider-Man versus Venom Muscle Car, because we have, first of all, dual mold legs here, black and white. Never seen that one before. Looks really, really cool. But I also like the car design. Like I said, it has, again, a certain Speed Champion vibe. Not in its entirety, but still a very nice and decent car, a lot better than what many Lego City sets are. On the other hand, in the Spider-Verse, the Miles Morales versus the Spot, 76311. This one actually, this police car, police department New York, I don't like that much, but I really like the idea of the building. It looks quite interesting, actually. Really like the cop. The torso looks quite nice. However, when you look at the ATM and everything, it seems to be mostly stickers though. But nevertheless, 4 minifigures, a car, and this shop that actually has even a decent interior, not too shabby. With that, we're moving on to something that at least excites me a lot more, and this is the new minifigure collector series 27. We already, whoa, that's a lot of minifigures. 71048. And ignore the prices for the time being. Price, of course, is just for one blind box, if you will. I mean, there are a couple of very exciting minifigures. The Wolfpack figure looks amazing. It's the most detailed Wolfpack version that we ever had. The shield, I do believe, is standard, but the torso print, the leg print, hip print is quite astonishing and amazing. We did have Wolfpack, I think, was it last year, with this medieval marketplace set, if I recall correctly, which also moved into Pick-a-Brick, if I remember. But this one here is much more detailed. This is actually Wolfpack 2.0. It's amazing. Personally, I would have preferred if they would have done this like 2 years ago, so that not everybody would buy the simple version like crazy. I'm pretty sure a lot of folks who bought the simple version on Pick-a-Brick are now regretting this a little bit, because this one here looks so much better. But there's also an amazing steampunk figure in here in the center, but also this pirate girl looks really amazing, and I think this bird is new. By the way, the Wolfpack guy also has a wolf, so unbelievable good minifigure. Personally, I believe this one will be the most expensive one by far, very, very fast. But also the pirate lady, I guess, could be a very expensive figure, especially because of the bird. However, with the bird and the wolf, there's of course the high hopes that we will see these in other sets going forward as well. Also, we like the astronaut, looks amazing. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in here, and the blue monster is also quite nice. A lot of interesting stuff. With that, very briefly, Ninjago, here we also have a couple of new sets. Just talk about some of the larger ones. A new Ultra Mech or Ultra Combiner Mech 71834. We have seen these kind of mechs before, right? Where you can basically plug a couple of vehicles together. What I think personally, what caught my eye was this red dragon kind of minifigure. So this could be an amazing piece for other contexts as well. Because, yeah, like I said, this looks really amazing, this dragon dude. But next to that, it's just a couple of vehicles that you can throw together to make a big mech. Has a certain Transformers vibe. 71833 Russ and Arin Superstorm set. This again, I just picked. I unfortunately only have one rough picture, because you have this again dragon dude in there, which looks really amazing, but also a small brick built tiny dragon. I mean, not really brick built, but made out of multiple pieces at least, which I think can also be quite interesting for those of you who build something in a high fantasy scenario, stuff like that. 510 pieces, not too shabby. With that, we're moving on to Star Wars, and here we have Ahsoka's Jedi Interceptor 7541. Personally, I could not recall this red dress that she's wearing. However, somebody wrote me, no, this has been seen somewhere in Clone Wars. I mean, she has green lightsabers, so this must be in the earlier Clone Wars times. I just can't remember this outfit, but it does look really amazing. Plus, again, I may be wrong here, but I think this is a new Anakin print, and it looks really amazing. I mean, the prints are all there, but especially also his torso. It's very neatly printed. So this is an amazing Anakin. The fighter itself, I mean, LEGO has done a lot of these Jedi fighters. That is basically the version that you could also see in episode 3, if I recall correctly. However, in this case, it's called Ahsoka's fighter jet, not Anakin's. Plus, Anakin's would be yellow. Yes. Anyhow, nothing special about it. The Astromech, however, has, I think, a color scheme that I at least have never seen before. Also, never seen in Star Wars context itself, but I'm always a big fan of having more Astromechs. I think based on these pictures, you can't tell if the back of the mech is printed, but to my knowledge, to this day, R2-D2, of course, is the only Astromech where they ever printed the back. Let's cross fingers that they finally started to change this. As you can see, this is a young Ahsoka, so that's why she also has the short legs. With that, we're moving on to my personal highlight, because of the minifigures, not so much the set itself. The ARC 170 Starfighter, I mean, rumors already were pretty precise on this one, 75402. What I did not see coming personally is that we not only have 500 pieces in there, but actually 4 minifigs, 3 clone pilots, which is amazing. I definitely intend to buy multiple of these, to have them for the future. The ARC 170 is a playset, so personally I would prefer to build a mock, but it's so cool to have the minifigures. So you have an Astromech included in a dark green white color scheme, which is cool. Then you have Oddball included, as well as Jack, which is amazing, and then the third nameless clone pilot. This is really cool. They have very neat prints, including printed hips, which I think is kind of unheard of nowadays for clone troopers. So that's all cool. The ARC 170 itself, I guess, is okay for a 500 piece playset. It has the movable wings, which is cool. It has the shooters included, so I think it is a decent and nice playset. For me personally, it does not have enough detail, and also the size is off, of course, a little bit. So here I would rather prefer a UCS version, but it's good to have this place version now as well. With that, we're moving on to 2 new sets already January 1st. I think this is a lot earlier than last year's Starship collection. I think last year it was around May. It was not May the 4th, I think. Or maybe it was. I don't know. It was for sure not January 1st. I'm pretty sure about that one. Anyhow, Home 1 Star Cruiser. So finally we have it, 75405. So, I mean, if you look at it, it is, I think, very far from the original, but I think that is excusable because it's not really easy to make a Mon Calamari cruiser, which is really cool though, something that they worked on, I think. This is something that they already started last year, that you actually have an interior you could look into. However, I mean, look at these pink pieces. This is of course a huge problem. I mean, these colorful pieces, especially in the Star Wars, is something that is beyond me why they still do this. I just built very recently the Endurance from Lego, the new icon set, and there's basically no weird color on the inside with more than 3,000 pieces. So they can do a much better job if they have to. For whatever reason, Star Wars is like the worst example right now. And especially in this case where you can open up the ship. I mean, I have certain UCS Razor Crest vibes here, which is very unfortunate. So, long story short, love that you can look into the interior. The weird colors are just, I don't know. This is I mean, this is something to get mad about because, you know, you're a fan and there should be no pink in Star Wars. Anyhow, here on this picture, you can very neatly see both the Mon Calamari cruiser itself as well as the model. And yeah, like I said, it's very hard to make these shapes, but I think the Lego design team here did a very good job, very decent job. I think they did the best they can, and I think it's good enough for me. Let's put it that way. What was, of course, a lot easier to build, and as a result, looks much more realistic, as far as I can tell, is the Acclamator class, a sword ship, 75404. This one has, I think, 450 pieces. It's $50, by the way. The other one is $70 and has only like 100 pieces more. I don't know, this looks off. So the Acclamator seems to be the much better deal. Does have a couple of stickers, however, I think you can completely ignore them. Of course, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really sure about the open circle logo, so this could be a print. I fear it is not. The other thing on the 4x4 tile is definitely a sticker, but I think you can entirely ignore this one, so I'm fine with that. It looks nice. I mean, it's very, very tiny. It's, I guess, one of the smallest of this collection, but it looks accurate. And also, again, in theory, has an interior. But again, look at it. I mean, there should be no lime in Star Wars either. I don't know. Somebody has to talk to these Star Wars folks at Lego. It's so weird. But anyhow, let's move on to a Grogu with hoverprem 75403. So this again a brick-built large big fig, if you will. You have Grogu. I think the arms can be moved with a small like Technic mechanism, which is quite nice. Grogu itself looks really beautiful. There's also a small Grogu here next to the display plaque, but I don't know. I mean, they did this exact same thing, it's like his vehicle in quotes, and they did this in the Razor Crest and the UCS version, and they did a much better job, if I recall correctly. So this one here looks a bit weird. It looks like too small. I don't know, they had to save pieces or something. But next to that, I mean, you even have the blue like, I don't know, donuts or whatever you may call them. This was Mandalorian's second season, I think. So there's a couple of funny scenes included. You can put Grogu in his hover, and yeah, all in all, I really like the overall design. I don't really understand the small Grogu thing. The plaque itself seems to be pet printed, which is quite nice. However, the set itself has a couple of stickers as well. Then just quick mentioning, there's a 4+ set also again. 4+ sets, I don't know what is going on with Lego, but these 4+ Star Wars sets are like the worst deals every time. This thing is like $30 for 92 pieces. Yes, I do know these 4 plus sets have larger pieces, but not that much. And again, why would you pay for this? I don't know. These sets are just awful. I do like the Astromech though. With that, we're moving on to Technic, and here we have another Formula One racer. So Lego's really using the license. The Oracle Red Bull Racing RB20 Formula One car 42206. 1,639 pieces. Again, I'm not really a big fan of Lego's Technic Formula One designs. I didn't really like the McLaren. I mean, at least this one here has slicker tires, but I think they even look like they have the same size in front and back. This is something that you shouldn't do anymore nowadays. We have 2024 Lego. Anyhow, I've built the Kada Formula One, the Alfa Romeo, which I think was quite a nice and decent car, but still not the biggest fan. The problem is you need to apply all the stickers, otherwise going to look awful. But in this case here, yeah, I mean, at least with the blue cars, the blue pins should look quite okay. Comparatively, but like I said, the entire wheel situation I don't really like, plus a bazillion stickers. Let's move on to the Chevrolet Corvette Stingray 42205. So this one is interesting because it has on the box something that I've never seen before. The Corvette logo, of course, it is a licensed set, but there's also Play in Asphalt Legends Unite. I guess that's a computer game or mobile game, don't really know, but I guess there will be, I don't know. Maybe it's just a commercial, or there's some codes included or something like that. Some other brands do this from time to time. If I recall correctly, Kobe did work with World of Warships back in the day, and I think there were also codes included with the set. So maybe it's a collaboration like this. 732 pieces though. Hand of God steering in general, with Technic sets in this size and price point, I prefer the whole pullback situation, because with that you can have at least a little bit of fun. Anyhow, $60 for this set. And then you have from the Fast and the Furious the Toyota Supra Mark IV 42204. I don't know, is this the car from the first movie? I don't know, somewhere between third and fourth movie I stopped watching them, but I guess this is the car from the first movie. Somehow I think the wheel size looks a bit off. The wheels look too small from my point of view. Also don't really like the blue pins. I mean, they have at least the blue in the seating, so I guess that's fine, but nevertheless, not really my cup of tea. Again, $60, 810 pieces though. And then you have a dump truck, which I think is quite nice. The 42203, $50. It's a dump truck. It has a couple of features. I guess it's a good and nice entry for kids into Technic. So that was that. That was a wild ride through a ton of sets. Hopefully that was okay for you and I wasn't going too fast. Sometimes I just had to, because I don't know, this thing goes beyond an hour. But just 2 quick reading recommendations as well. I did review the BlueBrixx kit for the new UCS Java sail barge 75397. Just as a quick comment on the pictures, for whatever reason my camera decided that this thing is like flashy blue like crazy. In fact, it is much more subtle. I don't know what went wrong here. The other lights are okay. I think they're a good reflection, but I just couldn't manage to teach my camera not to overdo it with the blue, and I didn't want to mess around with the pictures in post-production too much. So just keep in mind this as a quick comment. But next to that, yeah, it's a very nice set. These BlueBrixx 2.0 kind of kits, like I've said, also with I think my last review, they have a lot more of these like already 100% prepared pieces where you have basically piece with lamp included and everything, which makes things a lot easier. What they also do now is that they are not putting in standard Lego pieces anymore, but instead you have these special pieces that are specially designed just to make cabling easier, especially reduce, I should say, the stress on the cabling itself. So this is already known to many folks who have built the Funhole sets. Funhole is like a brick brand, but it's from the same company, and there they use the same technique. So now they are transferring this into BlueBrixx. I haven't seen this yet with light tailing, but my assumption is that this will be the case there as well, at least over time. BlueBrixx, Lighttailing, Funhole are all brands of the same company. Anyhow, it is, I think the result speaks for itself, and it was also, thanks to all the new pieces, relatively easy to do. And then with that, moving on to a review from Stone Garden from our team. She has done a review on 2 fantasy sets from the Le Petit Prince, or the Little Prince, I guess it is in English, 86305 and 86320 in this case. So I think especially the interesting one about this one is that we had the fox in there, but also the new Little Prince minifig, which I think is the first time that we have done a review. Fantasy is going this way by means they don't seem to have like a standard minifig like other companies have. Of course, Lego most and foremost. And then just adapt it a little bit, right, to the individual, like different prints, different colors, and sometimes a different hairpiece. But instead, it seems that these figures are exclusively made for the individual lines, in this case, the Little Prince, which is interesting. It's an interesting concept. Next to that, these are, as always with Fantasy, beautifully made. There is a mixed bag of pad printed pieces as well as a few stickers, and I think they're really, up to the task when it comes to the license. Look really beautiful. And I think Stone Garden was quite excited as well. With that, we are done with the show for this week. I hope you did like it. Wherever you listen to this or watch this, I don't know, leave a like, comment, subscribe, rate, follow. I don't know, it's called differently on every platform, but all of it is highly appreciated. With that, thanks for listening. See you next week.